I'm old school when it comes to Dungeons and Dragons. To be more accurate, I'm a TSR-era D&D 2nd edition guy. If I ever push D&D, it's always going to be 2nd edition. Like, my channel really focuses on system neutral gaming advice. But if I were to promote a D&D game, it's going to be 2nd edition. If you venture over to the old school part of the tabletop role-playing game hobby online, you're going to run into a lot of people there that like to degrade 2nd edition, and what they do is they promote 1st edition AD&D. And in many cases, they're putting down other games like 2nd edition to do so, because that's how many people in the old school behave. They got to put something else down to imply that their game is better and that they are better than the people playing the other game. But I got some news. Like, I've been looking into this stuff for a while, and I want to really shove this into the faces of the people that promote 1st edition AD&D at the expense of degrading 2nd edition. When it comes to new people coming into the hobby, especially in 2023, when you look at their purchases, towards, the OSR or old school TSR D&D, the majority of the purchases for the new crowd, if you check out Amazon especially, is what? It's 2nd edition AD&D. Why is 2nd edition selling better to the new people coming into the hobby? Why is that happening? Well, the more the old school pushes 2nd edition away, you'll notice that there is new school content creators that will talk about 2nd edition. They really will. They'll put out content talking about that game. And they're not doing it in a negative way that you see many content creators doing it in the old school section of the tabletop role-playing game hobby. When I promote 2nd edition, I don't sit there and degrade 1st edition. I just talk about what I think is great about 2nd edition, and then I teach people how easy it is to play the game. That's it. It ends there for me. Do you know what I think really sells 2nd edition better than, say, 1st edition AD&D? It's because of the positive talk that goes around 2nd edition. Like, if all you're hearing is cranky people complain about 2nd edition, and they're being negative and degrading it, and then talking about how great 1st edition is, but you don't like those people, you don't like the attitude, you're probably going to get turned off all around. Turned off from the game that they like to promote, like 1st edition. And you're going to take another look at 2nd edition because you don't like these pricks and the way they're talking to you and talking about games. That just turns you off. So here you are checking out 2nd edition. And then when you get the people that are talking about 2nd edition, this is what the audience experience. They go from, some complaining old men to people talking about 2nd edition in a positive way, not being cranky, not tearing down other games, and not tearing down other people in the process. Why is 2nd edition doing so well with the new crowd? Like, why are new people coming into the hobby finding 2nd edition appealing? Well, I think it's because of this. 2nd edition is in a neutral zone in 2023. The old school kicks it aside. There are some in the old school that actually say 2nd edition is not old school, right? So old school ends up in a neutral zone where people are really not paying attention to it, like at least that group of people. So they degrade it a bit, but there's not really a lot of focus. So there's not a lot of drama. There's not a lot of arguing going on around 2nd edition. So all people are running into is positive things, right? Like, to them, it's they hear a content creator talking about 2nd edition, it's positive. And the only time they're hearing this negative stuff is if they go to some old school stream where they hear people saying it's not old school and they degrade 2nd edition, to put up 1st edition to say it's better. And again, these are very negative people, so they're turning people off. But you won't find this going on around 2nd edition. You won't find this negativity going on. So it's very appealing, especially to normies. So many of the new people coming into the hobby will look at 2nd edition and go, well, hey, they're not bothering with it. There's no real arguing going on. And these guys all say it's a pretty decent game and it doesn't seem that hard to play. Well, yeah, it's going to sell well because of that. And how amazing is that? Right? We have a certain portion of content creators in the old school. We have people that will say that they are OSR and they're all for AD&D 1st edition over 2nd edition. And then you get to the bro OSR people that will say that they are bro OSR, and all these groups, all they do all day for years is push AD&D first edition. But here we are years later after their effort, day after day, year after year. And what do they have to show for it? Nothing. AD&D is not popular. It's not selling like hotcakes. But yet you take a game and separate these assholes away from the game, like 2nd edition, and suddenly 2nd edition sells. Why? Because there's all that negativity is running away from it, which is good. But that should tell you something. If you really want to sell an old school game, the current cast of content creators from the OSR to the old school to bro OSR, these are not the people you want promoting your game. Actually, they'll just take that game and jump off a cliff with it, and there goes any chance that game has of a real future. Look, it doesn't mean people won't bother with AD&D first edition going forward. But it's not going to be on the level that these people were hoping it would be. All their effort has honestly failed. It will only just keep going because people will just keep looking into it. But you won't be able to credit these people over here as being the reason why people might play AD&D first edition in the future. But you can look at the people that have promoted 2nd edition and go, you guys got it right. Not being negative, not tearing down other people and other games in the process of pushing 2nd edition, that has worked, right? And you can see it now. Anyway, for now, take care. You know what you can do? You can hit the like button. You can share the video. Oh, and there's another button you can press. That one that lets you subscribe to my channel for more content. Oh yeah, there's that bell thing. You can press that so you know when I've uploaded a new video right away.